And you were able to overcome where you grew up, as you once put it. You saw what happened and things like drug dealing, where the life would end, and you decided at some point, I'm not going there.
Yeah, just, I mean, those sort of decisions that happen in, many of our lives, when we're faced with those fork, the fork in the road moments. And I was around people and I was seeing people, really genuinely nice people, going away for 13 years and, all these, unjust and Rockefeller laws. And, I was just around that so much that I would just told myself, man, I have to make a decision at some point. And, I made this decision to, focus on music, which was my love, and it worked out.
Consistency. People have a love of music. They may do 1 or 2 or 3 albums, and then for some reason they fade away. That hasn't happened to you.
I think again, it goes back to a bit of what Warren was saying as well. Like, it's the discipline as well, the discipline to not get caught up in the moment. Music is like stocks too. There's the hot thing of the moment. There's this hot electro sound or the hot auto-tune voice or the hot whatever's new and exciting. And, people tend to make emotional decisions based on that. They don't stick with what they know. This is who I am. This is what I do. And then they, jump on this next hot thing and, it's not for you. So for me, just having the discipline and having the confidence that in who I am, and if I go into a studio and if I find my truth of the moment, there are a number of people in the world that can relate to what I'm saying and it's gonna buy into what I'm doing. Not because it's the new thing of the moment, but because it's my genuine emotions. It's how I feel. It's how I articulate the world. And, just having the discipline to just, be yourself.
Because you once said, as an artist, you are fighting against everything that's new and everyone's fascinations with new things.
Yeah, shiny things.
And
people fall in love with shiny things.
So in essence, as you grow older, you bring an audience with you because the topic of your music grows with you.
Right.
So it never doesn't go stale.
Yeah, because for hip hop is like 30 years old. Like, hip hop is fairly a new genre of music. So we've never seen, the maturation of hip hop, in this sort of way. This never happened before. People would get a certain age and still try to pinpoint this, young demographic, because hip hop was a young man sport. But, people that listen to hip hop when they're 18, they still gonna like hip hop when they're 28. It's just that the voices in hip hop are not speaking directly to them anymore. They weren't. They were speaking to a 18-year-old demographic. So, you're 28, you don't have anything to listen to because no one's relating to you. So, my whole thing was, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna make, the music that I love to make and that I want to make, and I'm gonna mature with my music. And, luckily for me, it was the right decision.
When did you realize that not only did you have this ability with music and not to get stale, but recognize too, you have to treat it also, even though you love it, as a business, so that you don't end up, as so many do, they lose everything they have. They're in effect indentured to companies, and they're not masters of their fate.
Yeah, that was the greatest trick in music that people ever pulled off, is to convince artists that you can't be an artist and make money. I think the people that were making millions actually set that. I think they set that whole thing up. It was almost like shameful, like especially in rock and roll. You had to pretend that, you got these millionaire guys who had to pretend as if they weren't successful at all, or it would be like a detriment to their career. Hip hop from the beginning, it was always been aspirational. Just always broke that thing. That thing that an artist can't think as well. And I think at the end of the day, as long as when you separate the two and you're not making music with business in mind, because you at some point it has to be real when they touch it, when they listen to it. You know, something has to resonate with them that's real. As long as when you're in the studio, you're an artist, you make music, and then after you finish, you market it to the world. I don't think anything is wrong with that. In fact, I know there's nothing wrong with that.
So how, going right from the very beginning, you learned about the business of music because you couldn't
Well,
get
we were
that-
forced. Yeah, yes, we were forced in the beginning. I wish I could say we were geniuses and said we're going to start our own company. You know, that's not what happened. You know, in the beginning, we went to every single label, and every single label shut their door on us. The genius thing that we did was we didn't give up. We didn't say, because these guys, you know, we use that what do they know approach. You know, we didn't give up at that point. I think that was the genius thing we did. We started selling our own CDs, and we built our own buzz, and then the record company came back to us. So now we had a different negotiation. You know, it wasn't the same artist label relationship. Now we retain ownership in our own company, and it was the best thing for us. You know.
Well, one of the things you did fairly recently was about 3 years ago. You were with a company, you were president of a company, you saw firsthand what you thought was wrong with the music business, you wanted out, and you're willing to put money to get yourself out.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily want out. I wanted to work with them, but I wanted like a fund in a sense.
You were president of the company?
Yeah, I was the president of Def Jam Records, and I wanted a fund to, you know, I wanted to work there. But I wanted the fund
what struck you is they'd take all these artists, almost like throwing them against the wall, so you see which ones would stick. And you thought that was a huge waste of money.
Yeah, in the music business for a long time, a hit record solved all your problems because there wasn't the internet and it wasn't this YouTube and it wasn't so many other factors. It was just the music. So that model still exists of, you know, just putting artists out and see what works, you know. And as the machine stopped moving faster, a lot of things got lost in the process, you know, A&R and letting the artist development, you know. So it got to a point we were, as a music business, we were releasing hundreds and hundreds of albums every year, and you know, the percentages was like really low, like 56 albums and 4 artists work, or you know, something like that. So I wanted to bring, you know, the entire culture into it. I wanted a fund so I could do other things aside from signing artists, like, you know, buy a television station or buy a club that, you know, we can develop these artists in, or, you know, buy some headphones. You know, it's just all these different things I wanted to do, and I don't think at that time, you know, they could really get their mind around it. It's not something they were willing to do, and you know, I just felt like I would be a waste there. So, you know, I started my own thing, Rock Nation, and, you know, that's what we do. We have everything from, it's a publishing company, you know, we have writers, you know, it's a recording company, we have, it's a touring company, it's...
Did you have sleepless nights when you put, what was it, $5 million to buy out your last contract for an album?
Yeah, at the end of that, my Def Jam, very much so. I even have a better story for you. So my last year of Def Jam, you know, when I proposed this and it didn't work, you know, I went over to sign with a group called Live Nation and made Rock Nation, but that was me as a businessman. As an artist, I still had one album left with Def Jam and Universal. And I went to Doug Morrison, L.A. Reid, who was the chairman of Def Jam at the time. You know, he did a great thing for me. He allowed me to, you know, walk in and have the conversation with Doug. And Doug, you know, we had a fantastic relationship, so it was very cool. But I bought my last album back. And what people don't know about is the day I had flew in from Hawaii, I was doing some recording, and I had an iPod in my pocket, and I was on a commercial flight coming from Hawaii to New York, and I had on jogging pants. And my iPod with all the music that I recorded was missing. It was on a plane somewhere. So I had to walk into the office the next day and buy an album back that might leak the next day. So every day I would wake up and be like, I would check all the internet places and everywhere and be like, for like 3 months. But I, you know, at the end of the day,